Good morning, students. Today, students, am I audible? Students, am I audible?
Morning, sir. Audible, sir.
Yeah, today
Good morning, sir. Audible, sir.
it is a leaf.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Okay, previously we discussed about leaf and types of leaf and the functions of leaf and the general characteristic features of leaf, right? Let us continue. Very interesting topic, that is the leaf modification. Actually, leaf is a photosynthetic organ because that performs photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process by which the green portion of a plant, that is called the leaf, that involves in synthesizing of food or in preparation of food material, that is called photosynthesis. With the help of photo, I mean light, the leaf of a plant which performs photosynthesis, which means the preparation of food material, which is stored in the form of starch, tuber, or vegetable, or fruit, or whatever, right? So this is called as the functions of leaf. In addition to that, some specific needs in plants, in order to fulfill or in order to perform some specific needs in plants, the leaves has to be modified. So that is called as leaf modification. In order to protect, in order to support, in order to store, in order to synthesize food material, in order to prevent grazing of animal, so in order to float in water surface, according to their habitation, the leaves are modified into several types. So simply that is called as a leaf modification. Leaf which is going to modify according to their habitation, habit and habitation, in order to perform some specific need or special needs in plants. That's why leaf is going to be modified into different kinds, right? So that is called as a leaf modification. My dear students, hoping that now I'm going to draw the structure of leaf, right? You can understand now this is a structure of leaf. Repeatedly I'm drawing the structure of leaf, right? If you take a leaf, you know very well it is a green flattened blade-like structure, right? That is called leaf, right? Now this leaf is modified into different size and different shapes. So that is called a leaf modification. My dear student, please remember the green part of the plant is called the photosynthetic organ or leaf. It's a green, flattened, very blade-like structure or leaf lamina, which is modified into different size, different shape according to their habit and habitation, right? So that is called as a leaf modification. Now, this leaf is modified into several types. The first one is, the first category is sometimes leaves are modified into, the first type is tendril. Second one, the leaves are modified into hook-like structure. Third one, sometimes the leaves are modified into spine-like structure, spine or thorns, spine or thorns. Sometimes the leaves are modified into storage. Storage of food, like so. Sometimes the leaves are modified into pitcher. Sometimes the leaves are modified into blader. Or blader what? Or utricularia. For that, I'm going to give an example for each one, right? So simply, The leaves are modified into several categories. The first one is a tendrils. Second one is a hook-like structure. Third one is a spine. The fourth one is leaves are modified into storage. In order to store water, in order to store food material, right? So, in order to store all those things, the leaves are modified into bag-like structure, right? That is called the storage of leaf. Sometimes leaves are modified into pitcher, or sometimes the leaves are modified into blade or what, or sometimes the leaves are modified into pillows, right? Pillows. So these are all the modifications we are going to say in leaf modification. My dear student, please understand. It is very easy and very interesting area to concentrate. Simply, these leaves are modified into different kinds. So the flattened portions, sometimes it is going to be modified into. Now this is a plant where you see this is a stem in which, and one side leaves are there, right? And another side you find the leaves are modified into small tendrils, right? Sometimes instead of coil-like structure, we find now this is a plant in which instead of leaf there will be spine or hooks. Hooks are originated, right? Bignonia. Hooks that I'm going to show you. Sometimes the leaves are modified into spine-like structure. Spine. If you take an open shell in which some spines, right? Is a spine-like structure that you see. Sometimes the water and food materials are stored. That is a storage leaves. Sometimes the leaves are modified into. No, the leaves are modified into blade-like structure or this bag-like structure, right? It is also modification of leaf, right? This is called a picture, right? Or nepenthes. And pillow you can see, and blade or what? So here there is no space to draw. So these are the modifications, right? Which are going to discuss how leaves are modified. What is its effect, right? So let me take one by one. First of all, I'm going to show you the entire leaf modification, right? My dear students, once again, I'm going to show you. Now, this is a leaf modifications. Please understand, it is very interesting area, my dear students. As I said, there are different types of them. The first one is reductive. Review once again. The first one is tendrils, and the second one is spines. Or third one is the hooks, and fourth one is leaf blade. Or in case of Utricularia, I'm going to give you an example for each type. Sometimes the leaves are stored like water and food material. If you take this example, I'm going to show you aloe vera, agave plant, bryophyllum. I'm going to show you right later. And picture, sometimes the leaves are becoming like coil-like structure, and the tip of leaf it becomes like a picture, bag-like structure, right? In which there is a secretion of a kind of enzyme. There is a proteinase enzyme which is going to digest, right, insects in order to get nitrogen from the insects. The plant which is modified its leaf like a picture, and that is called the sixth one, right? My dear student. The next one, pillows. So if you take a acacia, Melrose line, acacia plant, right? In acacia, this petiole is modified into leaf-like structure that's going to perform photosynthesis. Generally, the leaf blade which performs photosynthesis. Instead, here, which is very special character in case of acacia, instead of leaf lamina, the petiole, which becomes very flattened green blade-like structure, that modified leaf petiole, which performs photosynthesis. Such a modification is said to be as pillow. The pillow is characterized in case of acacia. Sometimes the leaves are modified into protective agent, right? In case of, I think, floral leaves like a supple petal, calyx, corolla, androecium gain. So simply supple petal and androecium again. So these parts of flower also protected like leaf-like structure that is called floral leaves. So that is one, eighth one, right? So there are several modifications in leaf, but here we have few types are taken in the syllabus here, right? The first one, repeat it again, tendril. Second one, spine. And third one, hooks. And fourth one, leaf blade. The next one, storage leaf. The next one, picture. And seventh one, pillows. And eighth one, floral leaves. Dillonyx. That is the category in which simply a supple petal or modified into leaf-like structure that protects both androecium and venetium. I mean, the androecium is nothing but pollen bearing a leaf-like, that is a micropillus. It is also kind of leaf. And pistil is also protected by megapillus. Microspillus and the megapillus. Both of them are floral leaves. So these are all the modification we are going to discuss, right? My dear student, first of all, let me take tendrils. Actually, the first modification is a tendril. Tendrils are nothing but this is a plant where you find now it's a leaf, right? And one side you can see the entire leaf, on another side you find there is a coil structure. Instead of leaf, there is a coil. It is called the tendrils. So if you take any plant in which there will be leaves are arising from the nodal region, there will be a pair of leaves. And every node, as I said, a node is a part of stem in which leaves are. Now, this is a node. My dear student, it is a node where you find a simple leaf, right? So, just the opposite side, in some plants, instead of leaf, lamina, there is a coil structure that is called a tendril. Now the leaves are modified into coil structure because in order to support, in order to climb on other plant. So in order to provide support to this plant due to presence of weak stem, that's why the leaves are modified into coil structure. Such a coil structure is said to be as tendrils, right? Generally, tendrils are present in case of Lathyrus odoratus. Lathyrus odoratus. In Lathyrus odoratus, it's the binomial of sweet pea, right? In sweet pea, the entire leaf is modified into coil structure. So that is called the tendrils. Now, these tendrils are classified into several types. I'm going to show you the picture that you can understand, right, my dear students? Here, I have collected some example to you to understand easily, right? Here, tendrils are several types. They are tendrils or originated from the leaf, sometimes from the entire leaf, or sometimes from petiole, or sometimes from leaf tip, or sometimes leaflet, sometimes leaf apex is modified into tendrils. So there are several types in tendril, right? So what is a tendril? A tendril is nothing but it is a leaf modification, right? Tendril. Repeatedly I am saying tendrils are nothing. It is a leaf modification simply. What is its nature? So on one side leaf is there and another side there is a fine extension. So that is called a tendril. Now if you take a plant in which now it is a leaf, right? Now this is called as a tendril. So the tendrils are sometimes the first one, the entire leaf is modified into tendrils. Example, latherize quadratus. That is the first example. Sometimes the terminal leaflets are converted into or modified into tendril. Terminal leaf. The second diagram, my dear student, you find this is a second, right? The terminal leaflet. No, there should be 3 leaves, but here the third leaves are there. This portion is modified into leaflet, or these leaflets are modified into tendril. So that is called the terminal part of the leaflets are modified into tendril. So it is found in Pisum sativum. Pisum, pea plant. It is a binomial of pea plant, right? In Pisum sativum, you find simply that terminal leaflets are modified into tendrils. And one more, leaf apex is modified into tendrils. In case of Gloriosa superba, I'd like to mention, I'm talking about this is a leaflet or a tendril. In that particularly I'm going to show you. My dear student, please understand. Leaf apex. In case of Gloriosa superba, I'm talking about third diagram, that is the leaves are modified into. Now this is a leaf, right? Right, in which the apex of the leaf. Now this is the apex, my dear student. Please understand. This apex is more. So this is called a leaf apex. This leaf apex or a growing point of the leaf is modified into tendril. So, my dear student, leaf apex is modified into coil-like structure. Such a modification is found in Gloriosa superba. I am going to give an example for leaf apex modified into coil-like structure. That is a Gloriosa. Gloriosa. Superba, Gloriosa superba. So that is the binomial of simply it is one of the state flower, right? Singonthal malar. It is called in Tamil Singonthal malar. It is considered to be as a state flower. State flower, that is a Gloriosa superba. Okay, what we are going to see in Gloriosa superba. The leaf apex is modified into coil-like structure. Such a coil-like structure is called a tendril. So here we have discussed the different types of tendrils. Entire leaf is modified into coil-like structure. In some cases, for that I have given example latherize water it is. Sometimes the terminal leaflets are modified into coil-like structure. For that, I have given example, Pisum sativa. Sometimes a leaf apex, which becomes coil-like structure. That is called simply leaf apex is modified into that is a tendril. That is a tendril is a characterized in case of glorious superbar. That is one of the plant, right? So which of the following is an example for leaf apex is modified into tendril? If it is asked, you could write gloriosa superbar. Or which of the following is an example for leaf apex modified into tendril? Right? That is a question. Please understand. Try to follow. And one more. Sometimes the stipules are modified into tendrils. What is stipule? My dear student, please understand. Now this is a plant in which the leaves are there, right? Repeatedly I am drawing leaves, right? Here, stipules. There is a pair of, here the stipules are there. The stipules are modified into coil-like structure. Sometimes the stipules which are going to modify into coil-like structure. So these coil-like structures are called tendril. My dear student, I am drawing tendril. Here, these tendrils, where it is originated, they are originated from the stipule. My dear student, please understand, they are stipule. Here, the stipules, there is a pair of leafy-like structure that arises from the axis of the leaf, which is modified into coil-like structure that is called simply stipules modified into tendril. For that, I'm going to give an example for that, right? Stipule, smilex. Smilex. I'm going to give an example for smilex. Now, smilex is an example for stipules or modified into coil-like structure that is a tendril. The last one, a PDO. Sometimes instead of leaf lamina, instead of stipule, instead of leaf apex, instead of terminal leaflet, here PDO is modified into tendril. That is found in clematis, right? What is PDO? My dear student, now this is a leaf, right? The leaf which has stalk of the leaf is called the PDO. Dear student, please understand, it is a petiole. Here, the petiole is modified into coil-like structure. This petiole is modified into tendril, right? So that is called simply petiole as a tendril. Petiole, which is to act as a tendril in some cases, that is clematis, right? Many students, I'm going to give an example for that. Clematis. Clematis. That is a clematis is an example of petiole, which is to act as a tendril. So far, we have discussed a number of tendrils. They are the modification of leaf. Dear students, did you understand what I taught to you? My dear students,
Yes, sir.
so far we have taken only
Yes, sir.
modification. There are so many types are there. The first type that I have taken, that is a tendril. Tendril is nothing but it is a modification of leaf which is to act as a coil-like structure, right? So far we have discussed a number of times, right? May I ask you a question to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Could you give an example for tendril from a PDO?
Clematis.
Clematis.
Clematis, very good. My God. Are you going to give an example for stipules or modified into tendril? Stipules.
Smilex.
Smilex, very good.
Smilex.
Are you going to mention one of the leaf apex converted into or modified
Gloriosa.
into
Gloriosa.
Gloriosa, very good.
Gloriosa.
Plants in which terminal leaflets are modified into tendrils. Terminal leaflets.
Naravalia.
Naravalia.
Rhizomes are there. Very good. The entire leaf is modified. The first diagram, the first picture that shows entire leaf modified into. So, moving back, the topic is reached on you, right? So, for dental is nothing but it is a coil-like structure that arises from the leaf. Simply, the leaf is modified into coil-like structure that we have discussed, right? Right, students? Very good. Okay, next we pass on to hook-like structure. Okay, my dear student. The next we pass on to hook-like structure. Sometimes the leaves are modified into hook, right? Simply the leafy portion. Now this is a leafy portion, right? Repeatedly I am drawing in order to understand another opposite side. Leaf should be alternated here, but instead here you can say hooks. What are they? They are the hooks. The hooks are nothing but it is a modification of leaf. It is found in Bignonia. If you take a Bignonia plant, I'm going to give an example for that. Bignonia. In Bignonia, you find there is a hook-like structure. It is also a modification of leaf, right? Bignonia. The next one, I'm going to give an example for a spine. Spines or thorns. So here we find now this is a leaf or open shear. In open shear, you find a number of thorns. So it is the right example I am going to show you. That is an open shear. And one more example, Jizibus, Jujuba, Jizibus, Zizibus, Zizibus, Jujuba, right? In which the leaves are having spines. Now this is a plant in which the leaves are spines at the margin. Here, in which you see a number of spines at the end, right? Spines are there. Thorns, spines are there. Spines, Jujubas, Jujuba. And one more example, right? Open shear. Next, I am going to show you internal spines, some hooks, some spines. So picture, right? Or an this. Picture is nothing but I'm going to show you on the day just I have taken a number of my dear student. Now this is a picture plant where you find it is also modification of leaf, right? Picture. So for that, I am going to give an example for that. Nepenthes. Nepenthes. Actually, a Nepenthes plant, right? And this is a plant in which the leaves are very long. So the tip of leaf, which is modified into picture. Just above the picture, you find now this is a lid, right? I have drawn the picture of leaf modification. Nepenthes. So Nepenthes and the Sarracenia, right? One more plant, right? Sarracenia. So these are all the plants for which picture leaf is modified into bag-like structure, right? I'm going to show you one more example, right, my dear students? Picture, which of the following is an example of picture? Now you can understand very clearly, right? Picture plant. Sometimes this leaf petiole is modified into acacia plant. So this is a leaf, you know very well. You can find the leaf is very long, broad, blade-like structure, which is modified into coil-like structure, and this growing point or apex region, which becomes like a coil and a bag-like structure, right? That is called a nepenthes. My dear student, nepenthes is very important. Picture and below acacia, actually acacia it has a number of leaves. Now this portion I'm talking about. This is called as a pillow. Actually, the petiole which becomes petiole. The petiole which becomes flattened green portion that also performs photosynthesis. This modified petiole is called as a pillow. The pillow is very broad and flattened green portion that is modified from the leaf petiole, which also performs photosynthesis. This modified leaf is called as a pillow. The pillow is present in acacia, one of the plant. One more question you can expect in both NEET as well as board exam, right? Which of the following is an example of pillow? If it is asked, acacia. And which of the following is an example of picture? That is the nepenthes, right? Please understand. This is also modification of leaf. One more modification I'm going to show you. Sure. Leaf spines already I have explained to you. When you take an open shear, as it grows in 0 point condition. 0 point. These members are 0 point because there is no source of water in the region where the plants are grown. That is called 0 point. So here we have taken open shear. This is an open shear plant in which totally leaves are absent. Instead, spines are there. Now, these leaf spines are preventing rate of transpiration, right? So, excess amount of water is evaporated in the form of vapor. It is also protected, prevented by the presence of leaf spine. The leaf spines are present in open shear, right? It is also modification of the leaf because as they are grown in zero dry region or 0 medication, right? Hence, the leaves are modified into spine-like structure. That spine reduces the rate of transpiration. Hence, the water loss is prevented by the presence of leaf spine on open shear, right? And the bignonia, you can see, this is a picture where you find it. This is a leaf model, is hooks. So sometimes the hooks are seen as it is, right? So this is a wood-like structure. It is also obtained from the bignonia plant. Bignonia. Okay, my dear students, one more example. I am going to give an example that is a blader, right? The blader is very interesting area, interesting topic. One more example that is I'm going to show you spines, Argemone mexicana, right? On the day, just I explained to you secondary function. While discussing secondary function of leaf, on the day just we discussed, right? Argument mexicana in order to prevent grazing of animal, right? So in order to protect by itself, leaf is modified into spine. The spines are originated from the leaf portion. So in order to prevent the grazing of animal, right? So this is a right example for a leaf spine. Right, leaf spine. These plants are grown everywhere, right? Mostly these plants are grown in xerophobic condition or dry region, right? Now where the region has no water content in that region, the leaves are modified, right? Into a spine-like structure that also prevents grazing of animal, right? So this is a Argemon mexicana, is one of the xerophobic plant, which leaf modification, right? Okay, my dear students, and one more thing I'm going to show you, that is a leaf blader. Leaf blader. Or blader what? So blader what is something, but I'm going to give an example for that. Utriculoria. Actually, Utriculoria is also known as a blader watch because it's a rootless plant. It is a rootless. It is a rootless plant because it floats on water surface. Now, this is a water body, right? In which there is a blade structure, which is a green in color. My dear student, just to see, right? This is a nature of leaf blader, right? So simply it floats. I have drawn the structure of Utriculoria plant. It is a Utriculoria plant which floats on water, right? It floats on water. Floats on water, right? So there is no presence of root, hence it is a rootless plant. It is known as a blader wart. It is also called as a blader wart. Example, Utriculoria. Sometimes it may be this blader wart is also present in some members like slightly submerged, right? Not only floating, free floating members, and it is also found in some members of submerged plants, right? So blader wart, which of the following is an example of blader wart? Dear students, could you answer? Will you give an example for blader wart?
Utriculoria.
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 Utriculoria. Repeat, please repeat.
Utriculoria.
That floats on water surface and it does not arise any roots, right?
Rootless plant.
Water and it absorbs, right? The food material which are present on the water surface, the leaf blader or blader wart, which helps in absorption of food material, right? Hence it is the floating on the water surface. Definitely here you can expect which of the following is an example of blader wart. If it is asked, please answer.
Utriculoria.
We have discussed a number of plants, right?
Utriculoria.
Very good, ma'am. Very good. Keep it up. And next, floral leaves, right, my dear students? Next, I'm going to talk about floral leaves. This is also one of the leaf modification, right? Sometimes floral leaves are like a sepal petal. They are protected in nature, right? What are floral leaves? Generally, the floral leaves are following types. The first one is a sepal. The second one is a petal, which are colored in nature. That is the second word of flower. And third one is androecium. The next one is the gynoecium. So here sometimes a sepal, it is to act as a protective part. Both sepal and petal, right? You know very well, a petal, it is to protect androecium. I mean, the essential parts. You know, flowers are divided into four parts, are divided into following that. They are essential parts and the non-essential part. So the non-essential parts are the sepal and the petal. They are non-essential parts, right? These non-essential parts may protect the essential part, which are androecium and the gynoecium. That's why, in order to protect androecium and the gynoecium, both sepal and petal are modified into very long, very large leafy-like structure that also protects both androecium and the gynoecium, right? So, talking about the sepal and petal, they are simply grown apart from the normal size and condition. It is a grown very enlarged size. And it is going to protect androecium gynoecium, right? So sepals are outermost layer of the flower, and the petals are second wall of flower that covers, that encloses androecium and gynoecium. Sometimes the androecium part, it is also grown very abnormal in condition, abnormal in size. In some members, they are also considered to be as a microsporophylous. Androecium, it is also modified into leafy-like structure that is called simply microsporophylous. Microsporophyll is nothing but it is a modification of simply androecium. So there is a leaf-like structure that also covers, protects androecium. That is a microsporophylous. I'd like to mention what is microsporophylous in some member. If you take a pteridophytic member or a xenoformic categories. Now this is a plant where you find. Here I'm talking about this is a microsporophylous, right? This microsporophylous, which encloses microsporophyll. Please understand, it is a microsporophyll. Sometimes a megasporophylous. Megasporophylous is also nothing but they are the leafy portion. It is also protected. Some pistil or gynoecium or the ovary portion is protected by. This is called a megasporophylous, right? This is also modification of leaf. So microsporophylous and the megasporophylous. Okay, next we pass on to duration of leaf. Last topic, my dear students. This is the last topic in vegetative morphology, right? Leaf duration. Based on the duration of leaves are classified into following types. The first type is the caducous type, right? Second one, Fagaceous or caducous, it is also known as a Fagaceous. Second one, deciduous. And third one, evergreen, always evergreen. And fourth one, marcent. Or marcent. The fourth category is marcent. Marcent type, right? Simply I can say marcent. So what are the difference between caducous, deciduous, evergreen? And caducous means the leaves which falls very soon. before maturation, right? So that is called a caduceus. A falling of leaves which falls after formation, right? There is zone. Before attaining maturity, the leaves are falling down from that tree. That is called the caduceus. It is also known as the fagaceous type. It is also known as the fagaceous. Right? Fagaceous. For that, I'm going to give an example for each one, right? Second one, deciduous. So before that, I'd like to give an example for fagaceous or caduceus, right? Cissus quadrangularis, right? Cissus quadrangularis. So that is example of caduceus. Simply a falling of leaves very soon after formation from the, that is caduceus. It is also known as a fagaceous, right? Simply you can say a leaf which falls very soon. I mean, which detaches from the tree very soon before maturity, right? Whereas a deciduous means leaves which will fall after maturation, right? That is a deciduous. Just opposite you can see, right? Deciduous. For that I can say maple tree and etc. Right? And Plymura, etc. Maple, Plumeria, Launia. One more category, Launia. Right? These are the examples. Deciduous. A falling of leaves after maturity, right? It will in the span of life, and simply the leaves which will falling down after maturity, that is a deciduous. Whereas the evergreen tree means the leaves are persistent. The leaves are persistent, right? My dear students, evergreen means the leaves are persistent, right? Simply, the leaves are persistent. Whereas the last one, marcent, in which the leaves are not falling down, but sometimes it may be withering, right? So for that, just yes, students.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Very understand?
Also,
Caduceus, deciduous, evergreen,
Sir.
persistent, simply withering, fagaceous, you can see, right?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Calabulum, evergreen, you can see, right? So, thank you for joining, my dear students, and make an assignment. Try to read once, more than once.
Thank you, sir.
Right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now I am going
Thank
to
you, sir.
home assignment. Please take them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.